All right, I'm joined today by Sebastian Mühlenhof, uh, Mühlenhof, I should say, excuse me. Sebastian does some great work commentating on the ELF, writing about German Football League and the European League of Football, of course. And we're going to talk about the hottest topic out there right now, the Leipzig Kings finances. Sebastian, what was your reaction when you first heard the news about the Kings' announcement of their situation?
It was like it was a shocker, to be honest. I mean, you heard some rumors, that they're not financially sound, but they're not the only franchise that I heard before rumors. But when it really comes down and they're saying, okay, we probably can't end the season, you don't expect that, to be honest. You expect that if you have the course of the time over the off season, that you have everything ready to, make the finances ready for the season, so you know how much money you can spend, how much money is there to make, and apparently there wasn't something going on. I mean, we had with the main sponsor leaving, especially two sponsors I heard today, but that's tough. That's tough to make. That's tough to find a solution for it. But I was just shocked, to be honest.
Yeah, I was shocked as well. I think people say it's normal, right, for teams to leave, but not during the season. And the initial statement they made was not saying that they would finish the season. In fact, it was saying we might not. It didn't exactly inspire confidence. Another thing that stood out to me is they talked about the league denying them a loan to finish the season, and then the league came out with a statement saying we're trying to work on a solution with other parties. Very vague.
Yeah, when you read the whole statement, I don't want to be too hard on them, but it's lots of like finger pointing. Like everybody's saying, okay, like there is no interest in football in Leipzig. The league didn't give us the money for a loan. I'm like, where's your own fault? I mean, you have to make the money, and if you don't have it, you shouldn't spend it. I mean, we read that they put like 2 million euros in it. That's much money. We know it all. I mean, they can give me 2 million. I will probably make much more of it, but it's like I was a little bit surprised that they go out like this and attack the league like this, because it's a clear attack against the league, that they say, okay, we don't get the loan, but it looks a little bit not so good for the franchise to go out like that and finger pointing, because finger pointing is always not nice.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest about it. Like, since the Kings started, it's been very messy, right? We heard they didn't get their pads or uniforms until like a few days before their first game. I think they've had a new head coach every season or most seasons.
No, Fred Armstrong was there for the two
Was
first
supposed to.
seasons.
Okay, excuse
Yeah.
me. Well, anyway, a lot of two
A
different
lot of
owners
coaches at
already.
least changing. Yeah.
Right. Two different owners already. Fred Armstrong out after he initially signed to be kind of bigger than a head coach and work in the management. It's been messy, except they've maintained a decent core of European imports, especially. So there's some promise on the football side, but it's been sloppy since it began.
Yeah, the biggest problem for me is like the city Leipzig of itself. It's not because Leipzig is not a good city. The problem is we don't have football history in Leipzig. I mean, if you look at the history in Leipzig, the farthest there was the third division in Germany. So where should the players come from? You're not gonna get them from the Dresden Monarchs, because we all know Dresden is huge in the region. They have such a strong community, such a strong build over the years. They just not gonna leave just to play like for another team and have to drive every week. So that was probably the biggest one that's still hurting them a lot, because they signed players from everywhere. They signed players from Stuttgart, from all over Germany, just to get them there. I mean, they have a player who comes from Düsseldorf every week by train. It's like,
wow,
it's just crazy. But they have to make it because they don't have the local talent there. And of course, if you sum that up, okay, are you gonna pay them to get there? Do you pay them the way there? Do you pay them a flat and everything that goes so much into it? What the expenses are, and I think that hurts them a lot, because if you don't have the sponsors with it, you will always make the minus.
Yeah. Today, Moritz Heisler, he went on with football on Twitch, and he spoke for nearly an hour, just about the situation. And one thing he spoke about was basically the prior owners had done such a poor job and basically had burned a lot of bridges with local businesses. And he did take responsibility. I give him credit, but of course he gave context that nobody wanted to sponsor the Kings. A lot of people already knew them for doing bad business, and it just made it so much harder for him by the bad work done previously.
Yeah, I mean, if we remember from the start, Leipzig wasn't in there to be meant. They just came in because Hannover left, Hannover Hildesheim, and Ingolstadt left. So there was the Cologne came in, and then we had the situation with Leipzig coming in, and I think it was like how much, like 1.5 months, 2 months before the season started. So it had to be a build up like crazy to have an idea. Okay, who could be the new owner? What will they do? So, I mean, of course, they probably made some huge mistakes. We should also not remember there were 3 owners actually. We had the one starting, then we had the league for a specific time before Moritz Heisler and his friend bought it, and so yeah, it's. I can imagine it's hard because if you start like this, you have to get much money quick, to be honest, to finance the season. But I mean, he had 1.5 years to make it work. I mean, sponsorship right now is hard. We have Corona, inflation. We have the war going on in Ukraine. It's really difficult with all the aspects going in there. But yeah, you have to keep going and start to make a good relationship with everybody. I know it's hard. Maybe they don't want to talk to him, but if you're on it and they get a good feeling about you, maybe you can convince them to come back or at least make something. But yeah, we will see if it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound very positive that the Kings will stay in Leipzig. I mean, I listened to Heisler for the whole hour, and he didn't sound very confident in the future of the Kings, if I'm being honest, especially in Leipzig. He did mention that there were lots of sponsors that were reaching out, and lots of potential investors. However, he kind of said investors, they want to see us hit these certain marks, they want to see certain things, and he can't do that while it's kind of already too late, is sort of what he was saying. They've reached a critical point. So yeah, I would be really surprised if the Kings stay in Leipzig past this season.
Yeah, and then there you have the question: where will they be? Because they're not gonna go to Dresden. They will never won't work. If you go more into the west a little bit, to the mid of Germany, there are not so much big cities, especially not with a football history going on. So it's really tough for them. I mean, they can't go south. Maybe they can go north, like Rostock or something could maybe work. I don't know, but it's a hard situation, of course. And the stadium also is a huge issue. We remember they had to move out because we had the noise issues going on with the stadium, which, to be honest, it's like the dumbest thing in Germany I've ever heard of. To be honest, if you live close to a stadium, you have to live with it that there will be noise. So like, why are you moving there? So yeah, but it's okay. We have to deal with it with German laws. It's just I don't understand them, but that's a big problem for them also. I mean, we have saw it. I checked with my what I wrote down about the spectators going in there. They went down. Like they had like 3,000 in the first game in the Bruno Plache Stadion. Was it Bruno Plache? I'm not sure. I'm getting confused, but they have the last game was like 1,300 something. It's just like half. And I mean, I don't know why the people are leaving. I've never been into the new stadium. I've been to the old one, which was okay. It was nice, but it was an old stadium. And if the new one is also kind of old, I can imagine it's hard to convince people to make it a good experience for them, especially if you, to be honest, keep losing a little bit. It's always tough, but you have to build a relationship with the spectators, with the fans, to get them back into the stadium.
Yeah. He did mention, of course, they're playing a home game this weekend against the Berlin Thunder. He mentioned there were under 1,000 tickets sold, and
that's not much.
Yeah.
That's just
I think he said the stadium holds 3 or something like this, 3,000. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I
He
know
did
that
mention
issues
there's a
with
press conference before the game, which I thought was kind of interesting, where he's kind of going to hold some sort of Q&A, I guess, similar to what he just did tonight, in person with the fans. But yeah, he didn't sound very confident. And of course, the big question that was asked was, are you going to finish the season? And he didn't really have an answer. He just said, I'm not sure, we are playing this weekend. So, you know, a lot of people were saying, don't worry, they'll finish. But I don't know. I mean, he didn't sound very confident in that they were actually going to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that they will finish the season, but we don't know. I mean, we don't know what the book's like. We don't know how much money they have left, how much power and energy they have left. But that's also a huge point. I mean, like the players also think about like, hey, what's going on with our state? You know, what's going on with our contract? Do we get the money paid? I mean, he wasn't going much into detail with that one. They if asked if everybody gets their salary. I mean, we heard. I remember when I was in Munich, I believe, where I got spoke to some guys who had interest from Leipzig, and you hear everybody talking about like Leipzig's paying good money and paying a lot. So I'm like, okay, how is that gonna work if you pay a lot and you don't earn a lot? So that's it's like a misbalance actually. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was asked, yeah, have you paid the salaries? He said he can't speak on it, but the
I mean,
team
of
will play
course, it's legal,
Sunday.
but yeah.
I mean, even in the first year, there were rumors that Leipzig Kings weren't getting paid on time, and they got maybe half of what they should have got. Yeah, it's just been messy. Maybe it is best for the league to move on from Leipzig, but would be a really shame if it happens in the middle of the season. Kind of a
Of
black
course.
stain on the whole, what is, to be honest, a very exciting year 3, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the question will then be if they don't finish the season, what will you do with the results? I mean, teams played against the Kings, and teams maybe don't play against the Kings. They're missing a game or something. How are you going to do it? You're going to delete all the games from the Kings so that there's not existing anymore. But then you have like when you look at the conference, uneven numbers of playing games, stuff like that. So it's going to be a really tough question then to answer. I mean, the league has now time to evaluate it, what they can do if they don't finish the season. But yeah, I mean, I hope the best for like everyone, coaches, players. I mean, you all want to just play it until the end, and probably also the young guys want to show what they can do, and yeah, earn a spot somewhere else maybe. But yeah, I mean, the good thing for them would be thinking about if the GFL has the break to look for a GFL team, maybe if they want to. But yeah, we will see what's going on there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for the players. Yeah, maybe AJ goes back to Dresden. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, he has good connection to Dresden.
Of course, yeah, and not far away, right?
Yeah.
He did, of course, was asked about the actual debt. What is the number of the debt? And of course, he didn't give a real number, but he mentioned, of course, it's over 6 figures. I mean, we kind of assumed that, right? And he said it would be a substantial for much larger firms. But one thing I have to respect him for is he said he doesn't want to do like a crowdfunding, no GoFundMe, Save the Kings. He says if you want to support the team, show up in the stadium, buy some merch. But yeah, it's, I think unless some investor comes in and I don't know, maybe just wants to be friends with the league or have some piece of a team that he can move, I think it's going to be tough for them to finish it out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, somewhere has the money come from, and I don't know where it will come from. We probably never know. I said he spoke about like US firm that is probably interesting, but they also want to see like the same thing with the league. They wanted to see some securities they have. If they don't gonna happen, how do you get the money back? And that's where you have the loan. That's the most important thing. And also investors want to see something. What can it look like, how it could be look like, and yeah, it's just like I have the sense if the Kings finish the season, I think that we will at least see an owner change with the team. I just sense that he is just like doesn't have the energy to do it one more year and just keep hard fighting for it. which is okay. I mean, if it's not going to work for him, then it's totally fine. It's just we shouldn't blame him for him. I mean, we all can ask what happened, what maybe didn't he do, what did he do. We can all evaluate his work, but if he has to say, okay, it's not going to work for me anymore, then it's his decision. He can decide then to leave the team, to sell the team, whatever. But we shouldn't be bad on him because he said like, I can't do it anymore, because he probably did everything he can. He burned like 2 million euros. That's a load of money.
Yeah, I mean, he said he's put his heart into this, and he wishes the Kings nothing but success. That he always will love the Kings, but it sounded like a goodbye, really, which
Yeah.
probably is for the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the best. The thing I ask myself is, if the Kings go down, will the franchise stay in Germany or not? So that would be the question. Do you move it out? Say like, okay, we don't want the Kings anymore. We take another team from another country. I don't know. So that could be an interesting argument going on, because what will you do with the players then? Stuff like this going all in. So yeah.
Yeah, unless you move to maybe yeah. My first instinct would be it leaves Germany and goes to
I too.
London, if I'm being honest.
I know you want the London franchise.
But yeah, the ELF needs a London franchise if it's going to be the
That's for sure.
ELF, right? I mean, come on. Um, Obviously, like NFL sees something in London. It's a huge market. Like American stuff is cool here, you know.
True. I mean, we saw with the baseball, like the last weekend, was it? The
Yeah,
baseball,
yeah.
yeah. So crazy, yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I think maybe London Kings or something like that could work, right?
Well, could work, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the Kings
But we'll
already,
see.
so
I
yeah.
guess, or Dresden, Rostock, like you said. Maybe Hanover. I'm trying to think of sort of northern cities that would work in Germany, but to me,
I mean,
it's probably best somewhere else.
I always keep asking myself if Braunschweig would join in, because they were rumored at the beginning, which I was told a little bit that the main sponsor, New York, had some issues during Corona time. So he said like, it's not going to work for me. Corona is over a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, could be an option. I know I mean, no, it won't be Hildesheim again, but Braunschweig, Hanover, it's still an interesting place.
Yeah, maybe Braunschweig. I think Hildesheim is like a great town, but it you would have to pull like from all the little towns like around Hanover there. Because like even when everything was like great with the invaders, we had maybe 2,000 people, you know, like at the height.
Stadium would be an issue, yeah.
Yeah. And then when we played the New York Alliance, it was like 5,000, but we had to play in the Hildesheim soccer stadium. And you can't get that every weekend, you know, it's much more complicated.
Yeah, especially it costs more also.
Yeah, of course, right?
Going into it as well. So I mean, if you always look at stadiums, we all want to see like going into big stadiums, but you have to refinance the big stadiums. They will want to have some money, so you have to get at least a quarter, a third of the attendance full to at least stay on zero and maybe get some money from it as well. Earn something, yeah.
So, Sebastian, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you think they're going to finish the season?
I think they're going to finish the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's going to save the day and have some vested interest in an ELF team.
Could be. I mean, we saw with the Dragons, they got a new investor before the season. We saw with the Centurions, they got a new investor before the season. So why not Leipzig Kings?
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe...
we could even see a sellout. That could be also happening, like someone taking over the entire franchise. Could also happen.
Could happen. Would be, I guess it would give like, I'm trying to see how an investor would see it. So maybe Leipzig is a bad situation, but you could get at least a structure of a team and play with it wherever you'd want to put it. If you want to go Rostock, London, stay in Leipzig, whatever, right? At least you have some foundation of equipment
Yeah, I mean, if
and licenses and stuff.
Yeah, the thing that I would imagine, I mean, if there is a new sponsor, the league should be make able for him to move the team. So if that could happen, then could be interesting, because I'm not convinced that, I mean, the league said Leipzig is a great city to play in. I don't think so. You
Yeah.
have you have the issue with the stadium. You don't have the football history. It's not gonna work. I mean, the situation is not getting better. I mean, how you want to make relationships work if it wasn't working before with companies? So they're not gonna change just like overnight.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Leipzig has sort of been like the league's afterthought since it was born, right? Like, oh, we need an eighth team. Let's make one in Leipzig, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is maybe how it ends now.
Sad for the whole fans, but just sometimes it's just not happening. I mean, everybody was talking about like the NFL beginnings, like teams getting moved, getting bankrupt and everything like that, but it is just like a normal deal. Like every German sports league has teams problem with finance and stuff like that. I mean, I said it with the football and Twitch, I think 2 days ago. The handball team in Leipzig plays also first league. They had to invest, or they had to find 500,000 euros more for the next season, just that because all the expenses were going up, so they needed 500,000 euros just more to stay on the positive side of the money. So
Yeah, yeah, it's tough, and that's I mean, the stadium is more expensive, but yeah, it's the problem is football is expensive, right? Like you need a big
yeah,
field, you need a lot of players, you need a lot of equipment, a lot of insurance. I mean, it's yeah, it's a tough.
especially in health insurance is probably killing like most of the team. It's just like crazy going up. Yeah,
Yeah, but we'll see
I
what
mean,
happens. Go ahead.
one friend told me, from he's a little bit older, NFL Europe time. I said the big problem last with the NFL Europe was the high health insurance, because players getting hurt, you have to pay everything for it. So that is always tough to pay for. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think there's a market for U.S. investors who want to have like a fun project of American football in the summer, like maybe like this Malcolm Smith guy with his private equity firm and the Dragons. Um, but it probably takes someone who's willing to lose some money for a few years, right?
yeah,
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
see.
You need money for the first 3 years. That just is you need someone who is willing to say, okay, like if we lose in the first year like 300, 400, 500,000, okay, I want to have it back in like year 4, year 5, see that it really works out my investment. That is just like with a startup, it's always like the first 2 years are hard, but in year 3 or year 4, you should start, yeah, getting on the right side of the finance. So yeah.
I hear you. So, Sebastian, we're gonna wrap it up here. Where can the people find you and your amazing ELF insights?
Yeah, it's most likely on just on Twitter with Zepmas56. So yeah, you can always find me there. I'll probably make a review what you talk about, but would be in German, to be honest. But I think with Google Translate, it should all work out.
I'll subtweet it and translate it for
Yeah.
you. You can see my bad translations on the AFI thread.
I mean, it's hard, it's always like if you want to make it like right word, it's just like tough. So you have to make like a sense of it, how it really sounds like. I mean, it's the same for me when I listen to we do with the Vikings press conference. It's always in English. It's for me the same, like to put it in German so that it's not making wrong, but just like having the right sense. So yeah, it's tough, but it's working, hopefully.
Definitely.
Nobody
Awesome.
complained so far.
Awesome. Thanks, Sebastian. Appreciate it.
Thank you, time.